This is Valley News Live at noon.
New at noon, firefighters say a string of dumpster fires eventually started a building on fire. Crews were called out to Fabrications Unlimited around 3:50 this morning in the 800 block of NP Avenue North for reports of a fire. And officials say that it started in a dumpster and then spread to that building, causing additional damage. Now, firefighters had to block streets around the building to deal with the situation. Now, the fire at Fabrications Unlimited was the second dumpster fire in the early morning hours. The fire was called in around 3:30 near 12th Street North and 1st Avenue North, and then the third was called in around 4 a.m. in the 1600 block of 8th Street South. Well, taking a look at our sky cam right now, things are looking a little bit cloudy out there, Lisa. We saw a string of rainstorms make their way this morning. Is that just round one, Lisa? What do you got for us?
Well, we are looking at more coming our way. Have been in a relative break. That doesn't mean we haven't seen rain. It's just not as widespread as it was. And then, in fact, we do have some thunderstorms happening right now. And that will ramp up as we head farther into the afternoon and into tonight. We'll see more of those areas. But right now, a lot of places enjoying quieter weather. Let's zoom in on those places seeing some rain and thunder. Foston along Highway 2 here in eastern parts of Polk County. Back over to Bagley and up toward Clearbrook. Some rain and thunder going on. Bemidji, you're seeing some of that as well. And then back over to the west, we are looking at just south of Mayville, some rain and even a thunderstorm in southern parts of Steele County. You can see a couple of lightning bolts just popping up there. South and western Grand Forks County, just around the Northwood area, a little bit of rain, but no lightning at the moment, and back over into Nelson County. So there are some places, but then there are big breaks other spots. Our view right now in Fargo is looking to the northwest, and you can see just enough of a break in a cloud to see a little bit of puffy kind of towering cumulus clouds in some of those storms that are developing. Here's a look at our current situation. We are warm in the south. We're at 75 degrees in Fargo. Grand Forks is cooler at 64. Check out Devil's Lake. 55 degrees. So there's quite a range in temperatures right now, and that range will get even bigger as the southern cities start to warm up even more, and that's when we'll see more of those storms start to pop. So here's a look at our planner for Fargo today. We'll in general be in that quieter range here and warming up to about 78 degrees this afternoon. Heading into late afternoon and evening, storm chances return, and you can see that on our planner here heading into tonight. So it's still active out there, and it gets even more active again. More details on that to come in your hour-by-hour planner.
Yeah, definitely a lot more to go over a little bit later in the show. Lisa, thank you so much. Well, a Minnesota man is going to prison for more than 40 years in what the FBI calls the largest sextortion case ever in the U.S. Federal authorities identified 1,100 minors targeted by 31-year-old Yu Vang of St. Paul. The victims are in every state and in 13 other countries, and they range from age 12 to 17. The U.S. Department of Justice says from 2015 through 2020, Vang tricked young victims into producing and sending him child pornography, and if they refused, he threatened to and did release their sexually explicit images and videos. The judge says that Vang was calculated and cruel and caused everlasting harm. And final arguments are expected today in the Arthur Colley murder trial. He's accused in the brutal attack of 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson in a Fargo parking lot last summer. Now the defense took just one day to present its case. Colley's sister and mental health professionals testified yesterday that he's been dealing with mental health issues for some time. Closing arguments started at 9 a.m. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison stopped in Moorhead yesterday to hear the concerns of the citizens, including the protection of individual rights. Now, he first visited the Red River Women's Clinic, which was North Dakota's only abortion provider. After the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the clinic moved across the Red to Moorhead to ensure services were still available for women in the area wanting an abortion. Ellison says he will protect anyone who may be prosecuted for visiting Minnesota to get an abortion.
I will file motions in those states to have those cases dismissed, because people have a right to travel to Minnesota and they have a right to get an abortion in Minnesota.
Ellison's opponent in November says he is anti-abortion. Republican Jim Schultz says abortion shouldn't be a campaign issue and that Minnesotans should be focused on crime. Well, less than 24 hours before railway workers were set to strike, the two sides say that they've reached a tentative agreement. President Joe Biden made what sources say was a crucial call to negotiators working late into the night. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
A deal has been reached between unions and rail companies after a marathon 20-hour negotiating session Wednesday.
Those rail workers will get better pay, a 24% wage increase over the next 5 years, improved working conditions, peace of mind around their health care by capping the cost that workers will have to pay.
The standoff stemmed from a dispute over sick leave and attendance policy. The president called the deal a victory for railway companies as well.
Railroad companies will be able to retain and recruit workers. They'll be able to continue to operate effectively as a vital piece of our economy.
The agreement now heads to union members for a vote, but workers have agreed in the meantime not to strike. The administration's labor secretary said a disruption would have had catastrophic impacts on industries, travelers, and families. The Association of American Railroads had warned halting freight trains could have cost the U.S. economy more than $2 billion a day.
Well, it would be a significant impediment to shipping goods and to create supply chain challenges.
Ahead of the tentative agreement, Amtrak had announced it was canceling long-distance rail service. An Amtrak spokesperson now says they're working to quickly restore those trains. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Both sides have agreed to give the unions a couple of weeks to take the vote and ratify that new contract. Well, here's a traffic alert for a busy South Fargo corridor starting today. 5th Avenue South will be blocked between 15th and 16th Streets for sewer repairs. The closure is expected to be in place for up to 10 days. Well, coming up at noon, she's looking to move into the spotlight of America's sweetheart. How one cow is gaining national attention. But next, weather to plan your day.